Good afternoon all. I'm going to talk about the ideal project. So in fact, the project as it would be when it would be an ideal situation. And I will start with the conclusions or with, in fact, the main item of the presentation. So you know in advance, before I start, what the message is I would like to say. We in our asphalt industry, I think we have to improve the durability of our asphalt pavements to remain the best choice in the future. And you could say that we can do better than we are doing now by using the knowledge and the technologies that are available. So in fact, we can do a better job than we are doing now. And we also have to innovate to meet the future challenges. Ronald Blaab already gave an example of, let's say, of using new technology, and in fact you can see that when you use polymers, then in fact you increase the initial price, but in the end you have a good investment, a return on your investment. So in fact it's a very useful tool to use it. To show you all the possibilities we have to create a better pavement, we created a paper called the Ideal Project, and you could say that's in fact the situation how it would be in an ideal situation. And in fact, what I'm going to tell you is quite normal. So in fact, it's not very, very special, but it's just, in fact, the technology that is available every day for you. So the goal of the paper is, in fact, to improve the durability of the asphalt pavement. And we have to improve the durability of the asphalt pavement because it's important, first of all, to have a better availability of the road network. We build roads to last for a long period, and we have to build roads in such a way that the maintenance that is needed is as low as possible. I mean, everybody agrees with that, I guess. Next to that, by using the materials in an effective and an efficient way, we get a lower carbon footprint, and a lower carbon footprint is very important to be able to meet the future environmental requirements. When you use your material in an efficient way, then of course you also need less resources. And last but not least, when you build roads in a very durable way, the road authority has more value for the money it spends. The goal of the paper is, in fact, to encourage all working in the asphalt industry and all working at the road authority side to contribute to making the asphalt pavers more durable. So in fact, it's not only a message for the asphalt industry itself, but in fact, it's especially a message for the road authority to do things for it in a better way. And in fact, the main reason is also to be able to use the techniques and procedures that are available to make our roads better. So when you look at the paper, which is available on the EAPA website, in the paper you will find tools to increase the durability of the asphalt pavements. And we do that by providing good examples in all stages of the project. So in fact, from the beginning until the end, or from the preparation stage until the maintenance stage. So when you start, you can start, for instance, with the tendering procedure. And you see at this moment that in most cases the lowest bid is taken by the road authority. And it means that when you take the lowest bid, in fact it will result in the lowest possible or allowable quality. So in fact you get as less as possible. And it surely does not result in high quality. And it also does not stimulate the use of the latest technology or innovation. I mean, when you do it as simple as possible, then of course you can have the lowest price. And I always say that if Slovenko and I bid for a project, and if Slovenko is even cheaper than I am, then he should have cut more corners than I did, because I already cut a lot of corners. And that means everybody knows that when you have a very low price for a tender, then you have a lot of problems on a job, and no need to talk about the quality in the end. So in fact, to achieve a better quality, the road authorities should ask for a better quality. And in fact, they have a lot of possibilities to ask for more. And they could use, for instance, the price-quality ratio, or they could give a bonus in the situations when they get a very good quality. Another possibility is, in fact, to use the functional requirements. And my colleague from the Netherlands, he will talk about that in the later stage. And in fact, he says you should give the contractor an incentive to do his best. And also the possibility is, in fact, to use green public procurement criteria to get the product you're looking for. Another example is, for instance, the project planning. When you put out tenders, then in fact you should do that in an early stage, because in that case the contractors have the possibility to prepare themselves. You should also see to it that you can do the paving operations in reasonable or good weather conditions. Everybody knows that in many countries, at the end of the year, they have to spend the money, and then you are paving surface layers with Christmas. And everybody knows that it's, in fact, stupid. And another thing is, try to avoid the peaks in high season. It's good for a good quality to have an even distribution of the works. And by a good planning, you can do that. At the contractor side, also certain things could be done. As an example, a contractor can do a risk assessment to see where he should be really paying attention to the details. And so there are many, many other things you could look at in the planning. The next step, the next example is, in fact, the asphalt production. When you produce asphalt, then in fact it's important to see to it that you have, in fact, a homogeneous product. And I'm coming back to that several times. The main goal is to have a homogeneous product, because when you have a homogeneous product, you can extend the pavement life. So to get uniformity, you should try, or if possible, to produce asphalt mixes with the same temperature and the same time period. You can, let's say, group similar mixes to make the fluctuations less. And of course, another example is try to avoid different moisture contents in your aggregate, because when you have, let's say, a constant moisture content, then there's also no need to have fluctuations in the burner, so to dry the aggregate. The next step is the asphalt transport. And for the asphalt transport, you should avoid several things. You should avoid temperature differences due to cooling. You should avoid segregation, for instance, during loading. To be sure that you have a uniform mixture in the paver, you can use a material transfer vehicle or a shuttle buggy. You have to take care when you unload your truck, and all those things will help you to get a good quality in the end. We also have a lot of technology available to see where your trucks are. So on the screen you see an example of KWS in the Netherlands. And in fact they use this software because they say asphalt is our black gold, it's very costly, so we have to know where each truck is. And with this software you can see where each truck is, you can see what it's loading or what it's transporting, you see the license plate, you see the estimated time of arrival, and at every moment you know where your trucks are. And that means that when you are paving and when you see that the amount of asphalt is reducing in the hopper, then in fact you can watch on your iPad or on your mobile phone and you can see when the next truck will be there. During the paving operation itself, of course, it's important that you balance the production, the transport, the paving and the compaction in such a way that you have a constantly moving paving operation. And the constant speed is very important for several reasons. And first of all, it's important again for having a homogeneous pavement. And when you have a constant speed, in fact you have a homogeneous surface, you have a smooth surface, and you can compact it in a good way. As I said before, if you need it, you can use a material transfer vehicle to see to it that you have a constant amount of asphalt as a buffer. And last but not least, when you are outside, you often see that the people using the rake do stupid things. Maybe you didn't pay attention to it, but I would say have a look what they do, and in general you could say the less they do, the better it is, because they often disturb the good service. When you look at the technology available, there is a lot of technology available nowadays that can be used. And over here you see an example of the technology that can be used on a paver. So you can use a 3D navigation system to be sure and to be able to see where your equipment is. You have several techniques for the control of your height and the slope. And you also have, let's say, the possibility to scan the temperature behind the screed by using an infrared scanner. And you also have, let's say, a weather station that can inform, in fact, the roller driver about the cooling speed of the asphalt layer. When you look at the possibilities we have available nowadays, you can see that, in fact, all the machines can communicate with each other. That means that when you see, let's say, when you take the central as the central database, then in fact you could say that you know where your trucks are, you know where your paver is, you know where your rollers are, and those machines can nowadays inform each other. So in fact, the roller can get information from the paver about the temperature of the asphalt behind the screed. The asphalt temperature behind the screed is very important. It's first of all important to have a very homogeneous pavement. Because if you have an inhomogeneous temperature of the asphalt behind the screed, you will have a non-uniform compaction, and that means that the cool spots or the cold spots will be compacted less than the others, and it means that in the end, after several years, the cold spots will be, let's say, potholes because they are badly compacted. As I said, you can measure the temperature behind the screed by using an infrared line scanner. And in Norway and in Sweden, they use the technique and they have, let's say, a system with bonuses and penalties based on what they call risk areas. Over here you see an example, and this is in fact what an asphalt manager can see on his mobile phone.
Excuse me, time please. You'd better hurry up because we're again in delay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So over here, in fact, you can see what is the temperature behind the screed. Then compaction is important to have it in a homogeneous way. And compaction is really essential to have a good resistance against permanent deformation, to have a good fatigue behavior, to reduce the weather permeability and to reduce the moisture content. And over here you see, in fact, what I mentioned before, when you have a uniform pavement, you get an extra lifetime. So in fact, if you have a non-uniform one, you will have failures at an early stage, and when you have a very uniform pavement, you will have extra lifetime. Here you see as an example the infrared scanner, and here you see the information technology that is available on the roller. So we have a lot of technologies that can be used by the roller driver, and with the normal technology available, you can in fact see how often you have compacted it, and you even can see the compaction level on maps. I only mentioned a few things, but of course there are more things that influence the durability of the pavement, and then you can think of joints, edits, bond codes, etc., etc. So in fact, there are many things, and they are all covered in the EAPA paper. In the end, you also can use all the data you collected to analyze the whole project. Because, in fact, what we should do is, at the end of the project, we should evaluate it to see where we can optimize it. And when you look, for instance, at the slide, you can see that, for instance, over here, the numbers of trucks waiting for the paver were very high, and that's, for instance, a lesson you can learn for the next time. So in short, with the tools and with the knowledge that we have available, we can deliver a high quality product and we can deliver a high quality road infrastructure to reduce the maintenance activities. However, the contracts we are having nowadays often do not stimulate innovations and they do not contribute us to use the latest technology available. In fact, in short, I could say that we can build the pavements much more durable. And that will mean that the road authority, but also we as a taxpayer, can save a lot of money. And that means that we need contracts that allow us to show what we can do. But that's in fact the message of my presentation, that's the message of the paper. And I would like to finalize with this slide. Anja Surden showed it this morning, so we are looking forward to seeing you in Berlin next year. Thank you.